Okay. So we're live. Welcome to the stream, everyone. My name is Peter, and I'm joined by the great co-host, Leah. Leah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this live stream today. It's a topic that's I've been following for some time, and I think we have a great lineup of speakers today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited.
Awesome. So for those that are tuning in for the first time, my name is Peter, and I'm the founder of BlockchainSpace. It's an education hub for blockchain and cryptocurrency operating out of Manila since 2018. So we've been adapting to the new normal through kind of webinars recently, and we've been hosting kind of talk show type weekly crypto updates every Saturday evening. So in case you guys ever want to tune into that, it's a very casual event. I've been a huge advocate of the NFT and blockchain game space for some years, and actually the guy and the pioneer and the reason for getting me into this whole space is going to be joining our panel later, and I'm really excited to have him. That's Gabby. NFTs and blockchain games have really taken the limelight recently with a recent cascade of events. And that, I think, Leah, I think you're one of the first that kind of kick-started it with your coverage on, play to earn, and your coverage on how people are playing Axie in the Philippines and supporting livelihoods. And, I'm sure everyone here is really excited to hear more about, what you learned and what you dug out of the data. I mean, it's super exciting. And then recently, in the DeFi space, there have been quite a few links that have been kind of bridged between, DeFi and NFTs. And again, we have our local ambassador in the space that's been kind of exchanging some words together with, Andre Cronje from Wi-Fi about NFT insurance. And I hope Gabby can share some words about NFT insurance at some stage during the panel. So without further ado, I'm actually going to introduce Leah, who's co-founder of Emphasis Consulting and also columnist for Coindesk, and recently wrote that article about how gamers in the Philippines are actually earning a living from playing in the blockchain game space. So Leah, take it away.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, I love it. That article. I'm the girl who wrote that article. I really didn't expect it to take off as much as it did, but I can't take all the credit. It was another one of our friends, a very prominent person in the crypto community, Callon Butler, who some of you might know. He alerted me to a tweet, which was, people talking about being able to pay their school fees because they were playing this blockchain game. And he kind of said to me, Leah, you write that column for Coindesk. I think you're kind of into social impact stuff and blockchain improving the lives of people. This might be a story that you're interested in. So I thought, yeah, I'll take a look. And what I uncovered just completely blew my mind. So I guess to give you a little bit of background on me, my company, as Peter mentioned, we're called Emphasis, and we do consulting in the blockchain arena. We've got a flair for regulation and compliance matters, actually, but we ended up here in the Philippines because back in 2018, my co-founder Nathan and I, we were actually working on building a crypto payments gateway, and we had a team of 6 Filipino software developers here in Clark, Pampanga. And we came over just to spend 1 month with them, intensive, and ended up completely falling in love with the Philippines. And, clearly we've stayed. So that was over 2 years ago now. And from being here, I recognized that when you're working in the space of blockchain and fintech and looking at how these technologies can actually empower people who are unbanked, that is, they don't have a bank account and they don't have access to digital payment services, what better place to be than the Philippines? Because obviously there are a lot of people who are really open to using alternative products. Back in Australia, they've got a very efficient electronic payment services, but that means people aren't necessarily looking to try out new things like crypto. There's no real need for it. So anyway, yeah, we've been here since 2018, and when I started writing this Coindesk column more regularly, I saw an opportunity to be able to tell stories of crypto from the Philippines. And given I've got this driver around, well, what is crypto doing that is actually good for the world? I was trying to look for social impact stories, and a lot of my stories were around, for example, remittances. Most Filipinos that you talk to will know exactly how awful it is to try and send money across borders, whether you're receiving it or sending it to family. You know, if you know someone who's an OFW, it's expensive, it takes a long time, and it's just really annoying. And a lot of people have noticed that crypto could be a solution to that. But as Gabby Dizon, who's speaking later tonight, who'll probably agree with me, everyone has kind of heard that use case. So I've written plenty of stories about remittances, and I was kind of looking for something new. So when I stumbled across this story, you know, this community of people in Nueva Ecija that had picked up an incredibly complex blockchain game. I mean, this game incorporates so many concepts of blockchain. You know, if you're looking anything from non-fungible tokens, which I'm sure our speakers tonight will go into great depth about what they are and how they can actually benefit people and society. But we've also got elements of DeFi in there. People are having to learn how to use a decentralized exchange. The tokenomics of the game must be understood. Otherwise, you know, you're never really going to get ahead. And there's this rural community in the Philippines. Suddenly it's spreading like wildfire, all these people picking up this game. And, you know, looking at it too, it's kind of like these cute little characters that fight each other. And I don't know, I just fell in love with this story immediately. But when I started digging into it a bit more, I actually realized that this is more than just a fun story or an interesting thing that's happened. There was actually a number of world firsts. So for example, we saw video evidence of what I believe to be the first ever evidence of a multi-generational household of dApp users. And it's for that reason, you know, when I started to get to know Jiho and he was telling me about some of the growth strategies for Axie, that other DeFi projects like MakerDAO and Kyber are even looking to Axie to see how they can potentially access their audiences, because it represents a community of people who have taken on things like NFTs and DeFi and learn to use these complex products better than perhaps any other people in the world. And it's all happening in the Philippines. So, yeah, published this story. I mean, I thought it was cool, but I didn't really know what was going to happen. And then suddenly it just blew up. I mean, like, I had people contacting me on Twitter and Facebook going like, ma'am, how do I play the game? How do I play the game? I want to get on the game. And it was just really super cool to see how people were getting on board. I think just the last point I'll make, that the big driver to this is that we've just gone through an incredibly harsh lockdown for months. You know, the Philippines has been in lockdown since March. A lot of people have lost their jobs or have had their ability to make an income severely restricted. On top of that, you know, a lot of people aren't even able to leave the house. They might be caregivers. You know, you might have elderly in the home or young children, which again makes it very unsafe to go outside the house. But couple that with the fact that the Philippines is a digitally savvy culture. Everyone's got a mobile phone, and you know, people are willing to learn. They're willing to put in the effort to understand how to play this game and make it make sense for them. So even though it's small amounts of money, people are becoming incredibly enterprising to be able to make this game profitable for them and deliver much needed funds when they don't have any other lifeline in the Philippines. So to me, it was awesome to stumble across this story, and it just reminds me of all the reasons why I'm here in the Philippines, and I'm just so proud to be able to tell the stories that are coming out of here, because we may well see the greatest adoption of crypto here in Southeast Asia because of games like this.
Yeah, that's super amazing. Yeah, and yeah, following on from what you're saying, I mean, that's 100% with, I'm also recognizing, you know, the great opportunity on this side. And also through our own education platform, you know, we're looking to launch kind of like weekly live streams to try and get more players into the space, you know, whether it's Axie Infinity or the Sandbox or any other kind of blockchain games, you know, and yeah, we definitely see it as something that can really enrich and help livelihoods on the ground here. And why not? It seems to be really the perfect time at the moment. When everyone's kind of locked down and you have limited opportunities to own. But on that note, let me introduce our first speaker. And this guy has had a lot of traction recently, and I literally just watched and participated in a land sale for this guy's virtual land, and it's probably the most intense land sale I've ever participated in, and I think he can probably share more about it. But yeah, our speaker right now is Sebastien Borget from the Sandbox, who is the co-founder and COO and of a decentralized 3D virtual world, and it allows participants to make voxel games on the Ethereum blockchain. And the Sandbox is actually building a metaverse and is currently, they've been elected actually as the president of the Blockchain Game Alliance. So without further ado, let me bring in Sebastien. Sebastien, can you hear us?
Yes, hello everyone. Hi Peter, hi Lee.
Yeah,
it was great to hear. I'm happy to be here with you. Should I share my slides already or?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to bring them up right now and we're going to disappear. So we're going to hand it over to you, Sebastien.
All right, sounds good. Let me see if I go full screen, what happens. I cannot see my screen anymore. Do you see the slides on your side?
Yes, Sebastien, we can.
Oh, okay, all right. Perfect, so let's go back. All right, well, hey everyone. It's a pleasure to have you and to be today at this event, specifically on the topic of play to earn. I think we're going to have a lot of very interesting things to say, real use case, real human success stories like Leah has been telling us through Axie Infinity. And I'm going to show you also how the Sandbox and the virtual world through NFT and our token Sand are also contributing to participating in play to earn with some elements of DeFi, with NFTs, with empowering players and creators. And I hope you like what you will see if it is the first time you discover about our game. So let me introduce quickly Sandbox to you. Sandbox, it's a gaming virtual world. On this gaming virtual world, what can you do exactly? You can do many things. You can create games. You can play games alone or with your friends. You can own items and trade those items with other users. You can socialize and meet friends. You can own land and use that land as a vehicle to start earning tokens or Sand token, which I will be talking a little bit more afterwards. And you can engage into play to earn, essentially trading your playtime for collecting rewards, tokens, and exchanging them for other tokens, participating into a circular economy on the platform. You'll be able also to interact and engage with famous brands and IPs and amazing content made by our community, since it's a fully 100% user-generated content platform. So we believe we are participating in the future of gaming, rewarding players and creators for their engagement, which is really the basis of play to earn. Let me show you a teaser. So pictures are better than words. So through this teaser, you'll see VoxEdit first, our 3D editor that allows you to create game assets and animate them. Then you can use them inside games that you play alone or with your friends. You can sell your creation on the marketplace. They are tokenized as NFTs and earn our Sand token behind, and use this Sand token as a medium of exchange to buy more assets to create better game, or buy lands where you can publish your creation so other users can explore them. As well, yourself participate in exploring the games made by the other creators and find resource, win quest, complete the different victory condition and earn rewards through it. So a quick background about us and our company. We are not newcomers in the space. I've been with my co-founder and most of the core team of Sandbox. We've been in the space for close to 8 years now. We started in 2012 with a game called the Sandbox on mobile. Then we launched a sequel called the Sandbox Evolution. And in total, we had over 40 million installs and over 70 million creations made by players on this game, which was iOS and Android mobile game in 2D in pixel art, as you can see on this screenshot. So we already have a great track record making fun and engaging games that has been updated for many years with new content, with live ops, and has built a strong community of players through this approach of user-generated content. But it had some limits. It had some limit because it's a centralized game on the centralized platform, the App Store and the Google Play Store, and we couldn't offer to the players and the creators the full possibility of owning or monetizing their creation. So our core team, right now, the company has grown. We are around 70 people, no more 40, as you can see. Core team has been working on the game for over 8 years. We have between 8 to 15 years of experience in the video game industry. The creator of Sandbox is still among us and participating actively in this new version that's now 3D, multi-platform, multiplayer, and use blockchain. We have amazing partners supporting us into our vision of building this metaverse. Those partners are either IPs and brands like Atari, Care Bears, Roller Coaster Tycoon, Shaun the Sheep. They are blockchain game companies like Axie Infinity or CryptoKitties, or they are just either technical solution or that will facilitate the onboarding of the users on the platform. Talking about brands, as I mentioned, we do have amazing brands on board, and I do believe it's one of the strong differentiators between Sandbox and other decentralized virtual world like Decentraland, Somnium Space, or CryptoVoxel, or even other just 3D virtual world games like Minecraft or Roblox, is all the emphasis and all the effort we are putting to bring those brands on the platform, get them to have a presence with their logo on our map, and enable players and creators to build game experience and engage with game experience next to their favorite brands. So overall, we're building that Ready Player One vision. I think everyone who has seen the movie has see this scene where you can see all the different Batman and other IPs in a big, huge medley of IPs. And we think like we can build it progressively through over time with Sandbox. To give you an example, here's what the Atari virtual theme park will look like. It will be a social space where players can come with their avatar in 3D and they can play retro version of the game or just socialize, interact with other users. Also doing one with Shaun the Sheep, which is quite popular cartoon series from Aardman, and you'll be able to enjoy the environment, the farm, and play some mini game with the characters. We also announced recently another IP, which is Care Bears, and we did last week land pre-sale that included some of those cute bears in a collector faction. But what's important is like they are not just collector rare assets, they are actually always playable game items. So anything you buy on the marketplace or that's been created by the users, creators, it has a real utility within our game maker. You can build amazing game experience through those assets as NFTs. How can you do it? Essentially on Sandbox platform, we have three main tools. One is called VoxEdit. It's a 3D editor that's very accessible. We already have hundreds of artists using it on a daily basis. Lets you create 3D model and animate them. The second component is a marketplace. It's an online website where you can upload your creation made with VoxEdit and tokenize them as non-fungible token. So basically, we say VoxEdit is an NFT maker. It allows you to create NFT very simply. And the game maker is a tool on PC and Mac that allows you to create game using those NFT, bringing them utility, a real utility in game. And it's all drag and drop. So you don't need any programming knowledge, no code behind to create amazing game experience. And I will show you some after. VoxEdit, you can download it on www.voxedit.io. It's super accessible. We already have hundreds of thousands of downloads. And it allows you to create those models. It's not just about the 3D model, making sure it's beautiful. Yes, it's great, but you can define the scarcity, the rarity, and the different attributes yourself that will give more or less value to those game assets. Like, are they going to be more powerful, better defense, better luck, more magic, more speed? All of these attributes are going to impact how they behave in the game maker and then in games. In the game maker, as I mentioned, you don't need any programming skill. You just drag and drop these objects in this 3D asset in your land, and they come with pre-made behaviors. So you don't need to do any customization for an enemy to start attacking your main character, for vehicles to move, etc. As Peter was mentioning before, we are also doing pre-sale of lands. We have a map called the Metaverse, which has over 464,000 lands in total, and not a single more. So there will be never any more than 464 lands. Each one of them is an ERC-721 NFT because it has a unique location on the map. Besides having a unique location, what are lands going to be used for? They are essentially used for publishing your game creation on our map. And you can choose where you publish it based on the location of your map. And you can see, like on this screenshot, that some parts have brands and IPs like Atari or Roller Coaster Tycoon or Pong present there. You can customize, make your land by changing the thumbnail on top of it. And it will be used for the discovery, part of the discovery and exploration in our virtual world. We've done 4 rounds of land pre-sale. Actually, we are now at the end. This is the last round of land pre-sale. We've sold them pretty fast, usually in just a matter of minutes. They are all sold out because we've seen large demand. And we've generated over $1.7 million of revenue through this land pre-sale. You can also buy and trade those lands. They are on your wallet, and we can see on OpenSea and other marketplace users starting to trade and monetize those lands. What you'll be able to do in our metaverse, essentially you'll be able to explore games. So on our map, you'll have a play button on every location. You can use a transportation system to access faster to certain location. Specific land have portals, for example. You'll be able to explore and socialize in special lands with the IPs and brands. And here's a quick sneak peek of what the social multiplayer experience could be. I think a video is even better. So you'll arrive with your avatar that you have created and customized. And with your avatar, you can start seeing all the other players around. You can chat, you can move around, have emoji, and a few other interaction. Then from this social map, you'll be able to start entering and playing the games, which I will get to in a few minutes. So the map can be really like one land is a 96 by 96 voxel. It's pretty large. Like what you can see right now is actually still just one land. So you can see like the depth and the space available to create something really cool. All the time you'll spend to create.
I'm going to need to stop you there because just for the sake of time, we're still going to try and get some questions for you. So maybe you can save some of your content for the question and answer portion. And I'm going to introduce Leah back. And Leah is actually going to be moderating the Q&A. So I saw some questions came in through the comments, and we can actually bring them up on the screen as well. So
yeah, let's do that. I'll just put a video in the background then, showing some real gameplay and a land made by creators on our platform using our game maker, which can be already downloaded.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. That's a super interesting presentation. I love how you use the video as well, so we can really visualize what it looks like once you get into this land, or this world, I should say. Now, we've got a question here from Bitcoin, and they've said how to start with Sandbox. How do you actually get started? And I think I get that a lot with Axie as well, because, you know, we're all sold on play to earn. Looks awesome. I mean, you know, having fun while earning money, what's got to be wrong with that? It sounds awesome. I mean, but a lot of people, I think they get stuck. You know, what is the first step? Where should I begin if I don't understand anything about crypto? I've never bought ETH before, and I've never been to this website. Like, what would you say to someone who just needs that very first step to get started?
Well, I think with Sandbox, it's very easy. Like, you don't need any crypto to start playing or creating. And that's our approach. Like, as you can see on those videos, we are really attached that the blockchain and it is just a technology that you can benefit from, but it's not required to start playing or creating. Yes, you can participate in our land presale to buy land in advance, but you can download VoxEdit on www.voxedit.io for free without any purchase, any crypto. You can download the Game Maker on gamemaker.sandbox.game as well, and you don't need any purchase to use the tool and start creating fun stuff in your land. So I would say, like, the idea for us is to show that it's a fun, engaging game. It looks good. It looks great. You want to enter and play that just like it's a regular game, like you would install Minecraft for your kids, for example, and play it. And then once you're hooked and you think it's interesting, I like this tool, I want to go further. Oh, I've done this amazing creation, and at some point of time, I'd like to publish it in the metaverse. Then you start digging around. Okay, what is land? What is sand? How can I interact and engage more on the platform and the community behind? Because at the end of the day, I think, like, the community is doing an amazing job at explaining, using, of course, some of the resources we have available, but the community is really keen to help other players on board with Sandbox and explain what is the value of play to earn, of land and sand, and what they can do with it. One thing to note, though, is we're still in a beta stage. So the play part is not yet live. It will launch, the first beta will launch toward the end of the year in December 2020. But we have already several tools available, like the Game Maker, as I was mentioning right before. And you can already share your games in an online gallery without anything related to blockchain or wallets. It's not published yet, so it's just like the mobile version. You make something cool in the with the Game Maker, you publish it in the gallery, and you start playing around to see already what people are going to do before it all goes online in the metaverse.
Well, that sounds great, actually. Now we've got something to look forward to. And pretty cool, too, that everyone here online tonight is just finding out about that now. So it's always exciting when you're really one of the first players that are getting into these things. There's another great question here from Mahale Kasoy01. And they're saying, how can you control the items produced in VoxEdit to the market? Now, I'm not sure if they mean from a platform perspective. So Mahale, if you want to further provide context to that, that'd be interesting. But I was actually thinking that's a good question. When some people haven't actually had any exposure to these decentralized games before, it's actually kind of a weird concept to realize that these items you're producing are actually yours. They're not owned by the game itself. You can actually have that in your wallet. It's not actually able to be copied. So I guess to give everyone a little bit of context, owning an NFT is like owning a unique baseball card, like a collector's item. So maybe you could explain a little bit about that. Does your platform actually control what items go into the world, or is that all up to the community?
So I think it's a very interesting question, and the fact that Sandbox is a user-generated content platform makes even more sense towards the meaning of what is an NFT and what does ownership mean. Because owning a game item that's made by someone else versus owning your own creation, the stuff that you actually spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, passion, etc., into doing, even though it might be very ugly, etc., to your eyes, because it's made by you, you will always have this sentimental value attached to it on top of it. Of course, you can make amazing things, and we are very talented creators. But in that sense, I think it's really powerful. And in a way, I find it very frustrating on other creation games and creation platforms that it's actually not the case. Like something you create is not yours. You cannot take it outside of the platform, etc. So just here, the optics and the thinking about what does it mean to own something makes sense in a way through the technology. It's very natural, this idea. Like it's not, it's different than when in traditional game when you earn a virtual item. We've been somehow educated by playing 25 years of video game and mobile and free-to-play game that what you earn in a mobile game was never yours. It's some sort of like consumable, perishable. If you leave the game, you lose it, you lost, you have no other options. With UGC, again, it's more natural. The marketplace is not yet open to uploading content because we want to, we are putting the final touches to it. So anything you create right now is not yet tokenized, but it will soon be. Like next month, normally we open the marketplace to everyone. We have just one challenge, which is usually when content in the platform, in all UGC marketplaces, you want to showcase great content, high quality content. So the first content that people will get to see, all the first creation people get to see, has to be exciting enough for them to have this first like 2-second reaction. I want to do it. I want to do it myself as well. So right now we have launched a creator fund for over a year, and we have been inviting a lot of people around the world. Like anyone can apply via a simple form, and we've been paying artists every month for the past 12 months to create content, and they will all that content will be NFT on the marketplace that they will own and sell. So meaning like 100% of the revenue goes to the artist. So that's how we empower artists.
That's incredible.
It's part also of the play to earn. Like I think in a sense, play to earn, but also create to earn. So we didn't create a new word for it because we just want one keyword, but because of the specific of Sandbox, UGC, etc., there's also a strong incentive and revenue possibility from creation and playing.
That's fascinating. It really is a real shift in mindset as well, understanding that we can create and own and trade and battle these things, and they're actually ours for no one else to take. It's pretty amazing when you've had no exposure to this space before. That's all the time we've got for one-on-one Q&A. We're going to move on to the next speaker now, but we will come back to Q&A at the end as well. And there was some great practical questions just asked here in the chat around, is it mobile friendly? You know, when are we going to see certain graphics? So keep popping your questions in the chat. I'll make sure that we come back to anything that we missed at the end. But back to you, Peter, for our next speaker.
Yeah, it's super awesome. Thank you so much, Sebastien. And I'll just take you off the stream now, and I will introduce our next speaker. So our next speaker, I know there's a lot of fans out there that have come from the Axie universe. And so we have the pleasure of basically having Jihoz, who's head of growth and who's been a huge advocate of the NFT space since back in the days of CryptoKitties. And these days you can find Jihoz managing the communities of Axie Infinity on Discord and Twitter. So without further ado, let me bring him to the stream. Jihoz, are you there?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can indeed. And then let me add your presentation to the stream, and then we will leave it all to you, my friends. Feel free to go ahead and through your slides.
Awesome. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, you guys can see it, it seems.
Yep, we can see it.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the invite. I'm super excited to talk a little bit about Axie Infinity today, especially because some of the people here, Leah, Peter, Gabby, have been so instrumental in helping Axie grow through the Philippines, which is actually one of the largest markets. So yeah, today let's talk about real play-to-earn gaming through Axie Infinity. So just to introduce Axie, Axie is a game built on Ethereum, centered around these adorable little creatures called Axies. So Axie isn't just one game, it's a variety of games built on top of these cute pets. So you can battle them. We have a land system that's coming out. You can breed them. So we're I think rather than just trying to build one fun game, we're looking to build a whole universe of game and add more and more utility to the Axies over time. So I think that's one thing that our community really appreciates, is like we're always kind of expanding and adding to the vision. Yeah, right now Axie Infinity is the #1 NFT project by usage. So this is from nonfungible.com. So we're yeah, we have over 1,500 active addresses on a weekly basis and almost 700 sellers and buyers. Also, yeah, you can also see that through our monthly active users. This is from DappRadar. We currently have almost 4,000 users on the blockchain, which seems to be 4x the next NFT project on Ethereum. So yeah, we're also growing. It seems to be exponential now. So which you can see through these charts of current Axie holders and marketplace participants. So how do we get to this? So I think one of the amazing things about Axie is that we have harnessed things like decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, and our players are actually able to earn tokens just by playing the game. So we have sponsors such as MakerDAO, which are giving DAI to our leaderboard winners. Kyber Network is also doing that. But we also have a potion that you can earn by playing the game. That potion is an ERC20. You actually need that potion to breed Axies, and we don't sell that potion. It'd be very easy for for us to maybe sell that potion, make a decent amount of money from our player base, but that kind of goes against our ideals and our ideas on how to scale this network long term. So rather than selling the potion, we don't sell it, but it's an ERC20, and if someone wants to actually buy that potion so that they can breed more Axies, they have to go to Uniswap to buy it from the market. That means that there's a lot of liquidity for the potions, and there are actually people, for example, in the Philippines that are making decent side income just by playing Axie Infinity. This is one of my favorite charts from BitPeanuts, showing the minimum daily wage by playing Axie Infinity is quite substantially more than the minimum daily wage in many of these regions in the Philippines. So I think that's why we are skyrocketing in growth compared to other projects. That's why we're able to attract a different crowd than the kind of typical just traders, people, crypto trader, people who are really familiar with blockchain. We have people who are, I think around 40 to 50% of our incoming players are people that have never touched crypto before. And I think these are the types of people that we need using blockchain if we're going to actually expand beyond the current base of users, beyond the current crypto bubble. I think Skermantas summed it up pretty well. So Axie Infinity is now the #1 Ethereum game. It is now possible to make $5 to $10 per hour just by playing the game. So yeah, I think that's the secret sauce so far. But the thing is, it's not just about playing this game to earn money. I think our players really feel like they have a stake or ownership within the network. They own these rare Axies, which some of them have sold for $30,000 to $40,000 because they're seen as rare collectors' art pieces. So our community is also very positive and a key aspect in kind of the growth of the game so far. So we have amazing artists, making things like this funny Axie GIF, paintings. We even have players who have made mini games using the existing Axie assets, and we plan on enabling that much more in the future through an SDK. We have a very lively competitive PvP scene with, yeah, actually, there are many teams that are popping up. So Axie is actually becoming the first kind of thing that's closest to an esport in terms of blockchain games and NFT projects. Yeah, and someone's even gotten an Axie tattoo. So how do we actually scale play to earn in the future, right? So, you know, some people have rightly noticed that, you know, the number of players that our ecosystem can support is kind of dependent on how many traders are willing to trade SLP or how many people are willing to breed. So there might be too much of a reliance just on these simple potions, which aren't really meant as is meant to kind of be something more than just a breeding potion. So yeah, and later this year we will be making some announcement about our native governance token. And so yeah, so that governance token will have utility like fee sharing. You'll be able to stake it, eventually use it in governance. And you'll be able to earn that token simply by playing the game. So yeah, we're now talking about playing a game to actually earn a piece of the game that you're playing. And I think that's a revolutionary concept. I think that's going to scale play to earn in a way that makes what's happening now look very basic and small. So yeah, it's still very early in the journey of Axie Infinity, the journey of blockchain games. Definitely, I think, you know, if you're listening and you're still looking to dive in, I think now is a great time to start researching. So a lot of people ask me, like, what's the best way to get started? I won't, you know, obviously there's tons of information on the internet, but I think the number one thing that you should do is just join our Discord at axieinfinity.com/Discord and start talking to the community, asking them about their experiences. And I think what you'll find is an amazing community that is super happy to help. So yeah, thanks for inviting me today. I hope you learned a little bit about Axie, and yeah, that's it for me.
Jihoz, awesome, man! I love your slides. That was so great. Yeah, again, Leah is going to be hosting the Q&A, and I think there have been quite a few comments. And they've been just rolling out through the presentation. So Leah, take it away.
Thanks, Peter. That was an awesome presentation, Jiho. Thank you. And it's just like mind-blowing to see the kind of growth that you're achieving. I'm just watching the comments that we're getting from the chat, and I'm getting less questions, but more like, woo, Philippines, and go Axie team, Axie #1. Like, the energy in here is just amazing. Like, everyone's so excited. But a few people have made comments around like SLP changing lives all over the world. Ax-SCB mentioned that. And someone else here mentioned that with their, okay, so Shanks said, on my second paycheck from Axie Infinity, I managed to pay for a reservation for a house and lot. I mean, that is nuts. I mean, Jiho, I know that you've got players all around the world and the growth you're experiencing at the moment is incredible, but have you heard stories like this from other places in the world, or do you think the Philippines is unique in this way?
So I think that the Philippines has a lot of really great evangelists for blockchain gaming. So there's kind of like a core infrastructure, right? We're seeing it out kind of in force right now. With Gabby leading the charge, and so I think what's happening in the Philippines is definitely special. But we also see a lot of players from Indonesia, Venezuela as well. So I think what's happening in the Philippines is also happening. I think at a slightly smaller scale elsewhere in the world. And yeah, I like. There are people who play Axie in almost every single country in the world, except for a few countries in Africa and Greenland. So yeah, for some reason, I don't know why Greenland doesn't want to play Axie, but maybe I think there's a very small number of people there. So.
Hopefully we've got some people from Greenland on the webinar tonight, so I'm sure they'll be signing up soon. Actually, so anyone who's got more questions for Jiho, please pop them in the chat. So Pogitsu PH is asking, SLP, is this the same token that CoinGecko is giving?
Yeah, if you search SLP on CoinGecko, that is the SLP associated with Axie. I would caution that, you know, SLP is just a breeding potion. It's a love potion. Don't buy it as an investment. A lot of people, like, some people think that it's actually the governance token for Axie, and want to invest in it. So I would just caution about that. But yeah, it's something that you should earn by playing the game, and then yeah, a lot of people. The one interesting thing about SLP is that the trading volume on it is quite high. So a lot of people will buy it just so that they can provide liquidity with it and use and earn fees. So, anyways, yeah.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about that too, because I know in our chats we talked a lot about the crossover that Axie has seen between blockchain games and the DeFi space, which is currently exploding. You know, a lot of people have looked at DeFi though and thought, well, you know, unless you've got quite a bit of understanding of how blockchain works already, it's kind of a difficult space to enter. And I think a lot of the DeFi platforms have recognized that, and they're now looking to Axie as a community of people who have demonstrated they understand this, they understand how it works. You know, they're using decentralized exchanges, they understand even things like yield farming. I mean, these are all very advanced concepts, and we're seeing people in, you know, emerging economies across Southeast Asia, also Latin America, and Africa, across the world, taking this up. I mean, it doesn't sound like the usual case study that people would expect to see. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that crazy crossover that we're seeing between NFT and DeFi.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that gaming is a great user aggregation layer for DeFi. It's you know, for example, recently Uniswap did an airdrop to every single address that's ever used Uniswap, which was huge for our community, right? So yeah, I don't believe in the narrative, you know, blockchain is too complicated for you know, everyone to access. It's just the benefits are too abstract. Like, people aren't really sure why they should be using blockchain technology. But when you hear that, oh, like this, you can play this cute game that's kind of like Pokemon and earn money, and then they're actually, you know, they're amazing, like, you know, legitimate reporters like yourself writing about it, then, you know, people believe. And humans are incredibly resourceful, right? Like, actually downloading MetaMask, like, you know, saving your secret password in a safe place, reading some guides. You know, I think educational materials are very important, but, you know, these are all things that, you know, almost every human has the capacity to do. It's just, we have to create that desire. There has to be that spark of inspiration to actually go through these steps. So I believe in making the benefits very clear, and basically, you know, kind of attracting people to blockchain with a really bright torch of benefits. So I think benefits, you know, that's the approach that we've taken, and I think it's starting to pay off. I don't believe, like, a lot of projects will say that blockchain is very complicated and stuff like that, but that's their excuse to buy them time, and to say that why we don't have adoption yet, like basically, you know, excuses for their investors. But I mean, you know, like we still have a long way to go before, you know, and Axie is still very small, but, you know, I think we should be doing more as a space to kind of harness the benefits that we can provide right now. So.
Yeah, so just one last question on that, because I think a lot of people have talked before about the potential of the decentralized economy and what that could actually mean for people who want to participate in these economies and earn money. So play to earn is, like, you know, obviously a really big thing. And I think a lot of people kind of get into the space because it's like, these Axies are so cute and I want to play a fun game that makes money. Woo! But there's actually some pretty exciting themes that are associated with this, because people who are playing Axie, they've learned about crypto themes around be your own bank. They are their own boss. They play whenever they want. And we've seen these stories coming out around families that are taking it in shifts to play literally 20 hours a day on this thing to make money when the rest of the world has kind of, left them behind. People have been locked down during this pandemic with no way to make money, and yet they can go and participate in this decentralized economy of their own accord. No one's telling them to do this. This is through pure motivation and a lot of commitment to get up to speed and learn how to own your own crypto and how to play this game. So you mentioned something, I can't remember the exact wording, so I hope you'll fill it in the gaps here for me, Jiho, but you mentioned how the Axie platform is multi-layered. It's almost like a jobs marketplace. It's a place to be social and have fun and have friends. And there's all these extra aspects. But please help me finish that sentence, because I can't do it as eloquently as you do.
Yeah, so the way that I see it is like Axie is a game, it's a jobs platform, and it's a social network, all wrapped in one kind of cute product on Ethereum. So yeah, I think so. What we're talking about is like basically the future of work is changing. The world is changing due to the coronavirus. We're stuck at home. We need to figure out how to generate money just by pressing buttons on our computer. Like more like that's, I think that's a skill that everyone in the world needs to learn right now, because physically moving to go to your job, that's not going to be viable in the future. This is like when basically during the Great Depression in America, everyone had to stop being a farmer and had to learn how to work in a factory. So I think this is the new shift, and I believe that it's about creating new types of work, new types of jobs. And I think that, yeah, legitimately playing the games and being a contributing member to a community, that's going to be a viable source of income in the future. And Axie is just the first step in that journey.
That's awesome. It really is. Okay, we're going to go back to Peter, because now we've got a panel discussion coming up. Over to you, Peter.
Yeah, awesome. I've really been enjoying this live stream and all the discussions happening, and all the comments in the chat, as you mentioned, Leah, they've been amazing. Like, Axie has a really, really good fan base, and people really get behind the project. So Jiho, I'm just going to take you off for a second, and I'm going to do another round of introductions. So there are a couple more people joining us for a panel discussion right now. And one guy that wasn't able actually to present his project to us, but maybe you can still ask him some questions. So that would be our very own Gabby Dizon, who is the co-founder and CEO of Altitude Games, one of the boutique blockchain game makers here in the Philippines. And they've also developed a blockchain game called Battle Racers. Altitude Games is also a board member of the Blockchain Game Alliance. And it would be great to get some inputs from Gabby, on how things are kind of moving forward. I don't know if any of you guys follow him on Twitter, but he's been really, really active in the NFT space, not just on the gaming side, but just in the NFT space, kind of at large. And I think there's a lot of exciting stuff happening there. So I look forward to bringing him in on that panel. Then secondly, we also have one of the Axie trainers. So a player from the Philippines Axie Infinity community that's been really active recently. And as Leah learned today, this guy started playing Axie Infinity because of Leah's article that she released in Coindesk. So I mean, these articles are really having such kind of effects, and positive impacts that people are, they're learning about this. And whether you're just hearing about this for the first time in this stream, you're not too late, and you can still get involved, And we're still very much at the cusp of the beginning, I think. So yeah, without further ado, what I'll do is I'll bring in all of our panel speakers. So I'll bring in Sir Kookoo from the Axie trainer from the Philippines community. I'll bring back Jiho from Head of Growth for Axie Infinity. I'll bring in Gabby Dizon from Altitude Games and Battle Races, who's basically been instrumental in setting up the Philippines community. And I'll bring back Sebastien from the Sandbox. So in case you guys still have any questions for Sebastien, we are all there. Now, I don't know if you guys also see, you guys having a problem seeing Gabby's video?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see Gabby.
Hello, hello.
You can see my video?
Oh,
No.
No, Gabby, but we can hear you though.
We can
I can see my video. Yeah, you can hear me?
Oh.
Okay, let me... You can't see my video right now?
Nope.
No.
Okay, let me... yeah, let me come back in a second then.
Sure. So Leah, anyway,
No worries.
would you like to get this kick started?
Yeah, well, if it's okay, we might kick off with Kookoo because we were having a great chat today. And I had no idea that the reason he got into Axie was because he read my article in Coindesk. The reason I was so shocked is because Kookoo has dedicated so much time, effort, energy, and talent to creating amazing materials for the community. I think there is absolutely no shortage of people who want to play to earn Axie in the Philippines, but getting involved with it in the first place can sometimes be a little bit difficult. People aren't sure where to begin. So Kookoo's made all these amazing videos to help people understand how they can get started, how to play the game, and so on and so forth. But I mean, they're so good. I thought he must have been like someone from the community from like way back. So when he told me he only got into like just before September, I was like, what? So Kookoo, tell us a little bit about what it was like for you when you were getting started, because you'd had a little bit of prior exposure to crypto, right? But it's not like you wouldn't call yourself a crypto enthusiast.
Yeah, well, it all started when I was, having my dinner, and then chance upon the article of Coindesk from BlockchainSpace community group. Then I read it, and then I got curious because what's this game all about? So after reading that, I immediately go to the website, watch some videos, bought my 2 Axies, and then bought some SLPs, which is, that's for me, that time was, I think, biggest mistake. I posted it on the group. I said, hey guys, I need some help. I bought 2,000 plus SLPs because I want to breed my 2 Axies because I want them to make complete as a team. And that mistake led me to using Uniswap. And and you know what happened? That's August 29. I mean, a day before the Uni drop.
Lucky.
Happened. So I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. But I'm enjoying the game right now. But because there's probably lack of videos in Tagalog or in local language that can explain how the game works, I immediately jumped into the Discord, and the Discord community was very accommodating. Very, I was received as they are willing to help, support you, assist you, even though you don't know these guys. So I got excited and asked a lot of questions to these guys, and then I asked Nate about helping me setting up my team, because I can't win. I can't win in the arena. I can't win in the player versus player. I mean in the adventure. So I mean, I said, how can I win? I mean, I'm so frustrated, but I'm happy because I'm interacting with the community. Now I asked some help in the general channel. Chief was very accommodating as well, and the rest of the guys. So I said, I didn't play because I want to earn. I play because I'm so stressed. I'm so, for 4 months, in the house, and our places, I think before was #1 in the cases here. So I mean, it's a strict lockdown here, and work. So I said, I need some distraction, and Axie gave me that opportunity.
I think you tap into something really important there, Kookoo, because after I published that article, I was getting a lot of feedback from people sort of saying like, oh, the only reason they're playing this game is to earn money, and as soon as they can go back to work, they're not going to play it anymore. And I was like, no, I don't think that's right. The Axie Infinity game has so much to it. It's a fun game. I think people absolutely love the artwork that comes along with it, the cute critters. But there really is this thriving community, like one of the most engaged, constant, bubbling communities that I've ever seen on Discord. It's actually quite amazing. And my Tagalog has improved just by being a part of the channel. But on community, I just want to mention that because in terms of the Philippines NFT community and blockchain community at large, Gabby Dizon is something of a legend. And I have his family to thank. One of the reasons I'm still here in the Philippines today, 2 years later, is when I arrived here in 2018, the first ever blockchain event I ever went to was a Women in Blockchain event organized by his wife, Mensch. And she was very welcoming of me, so it was one of the reasons that just made me fall in love with the Philippines. But I think Gabby really understands how important community is to get these things going. So it's like, they say, build it and they will come. Axie Infinity could have been the greatest game in the world, but it's really that community element that gets around it and that word of mouth aspect that starts to get things moving. So, Gabby, you're kind of like the unofficial ambassador for Axie in the Philippines. Like maybe tell us a little bit about your story and also Battle Races, your NFT game that you've created.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
We can, yeah.
All right, so I started with blockchain games over 2 years ago. Actually, it was an event in Manila that I got started with Axie Infinity because I invited Jihoz to come over and speak. And then, so we spoke at a conference. We talked about blockchain games. And then he basically gave me 3 free Axies to start the game. And and from there, I got hooked. So like now I'm one of the, I would say, oldest players in the game. I've been playing for over 2 years, and it's really been such a great experience, and it's really changed my life. So we've made our own game, Battle Racers, which is a racing game that is in Decentraland. That our first tournament is actually coming up pretty soon. I also own land in Sandbox, for example, so really can't wait to see what Seb and his team are coming up with soon there. And I think I actually share with a lot of the community when they say that Axie Infinity has really changed our lives for the better. So my son even plays it. And as Jihoz said earlier, a lot of the people that that play Axie Infinity, almost all of them received the uni airdrop. And what happened was that over 2 weeks ago, my son actually bought like 10 Almace shards for which was maybe like worth $40, like 2,000 pesos. And because of that, he got an airdrop worth over 100,000 pesos. So it's crazy. Tsaka gusto ko pala mabatiin yung mga ka-farmers natin dyan. So magandang gabi sa inyong lahat.
You're very active now on the Discord. They're going to crash it.
That's incredible, Gabby. I mean, just to put this into perspective too, there was actually a great response article. Shout out to Michael Mishlot, who wrote an article for Bitpinas about helping to put the Coindesk article into context, because I think a lot of people around the world they don't really quite grasp what minimum wage here is in the Philippines and how tough it has been for people who have been locked down. Like a lot of people have been just relying on handouts of rice and tins and sardines from the government. And I think in the Western world, that's really quite difficult to comprehend. So the article on Bitpinas was really great because it demonstrated how the money that people were earning on this game was it was insane in terms of changing lives. So maybe you could put that into context, Gabby, like around the uni airdrop as well. Like how is this transforming the landscape in the Philippines?
So, when I talk to a lot of crypto investors that have been in the scene for maybe the last 4, 5, 6 years, it's always the same complaint. When are we going to see real world use cases of blockchain? It's still only making the rich richer. When are we going to see mass adoption? I would tell them that you're just not looking at the right place. So every day, every morning I log into the Discord, and there's always, good morning, mga farmers. These are people who've never used blockchain before that we've onboarded here. And yeah, every day it's a very strong community that are actually learning the technology behind blockchain because it's making a significant impact on everyday lives. For people who, we're talking about minimum wage, right? And minimum wage here is probably something like, 500 pesos or $10 a day. People don't realize that, if you're able to earn something like maybe 20 to 30,000 pesos a month playing Axie Infinity, selling the SLP for ETH, selling the ETH for pesos, that's actually changing a lot of people's lives. And when they use Uniswap and they got the airdrop, and I told people in the community not to sell during the first day, I hope they listen to me, because the price doubled after that. Then a lot of them actually received the Uni airdrop, which is maybe over 100,000 pesos, or more like a year's salary in the Philippines. So it is literally quite life-changing. And I think we really need to put a better spotlight on this because, people are still saying the same thing about when is mass adoption happening. People aren't ready for NFTs to go mainstream. They're actually just not looking in the right place.
Yeah, I totally agree that the Uniswap airdrop was like somewhat of a miracle. I would sort of say maybe Christmas has come early, but Christmas always comes early in the Philippines. So it was really quite a miracle.
Yeah.
So Wesley Ronald has actually put an amazing comment in the chat. He said, no need for competition. There's players for every game. Oh, and I can actually hear someone's Discord in the background. Could you just mute that? Like, seriously? No. So Wesley says, no need for competition. There's players for every game. And I think that's an awesome point because that's another thing. People have said, when does this cap out? Like, if too many people get involved with this game, does it remove value for others? So I'd throw that to maybe Jiho. You can take that up first. What do you think that means? Like that this is less about being competitive and more about actually encouraging more people to get involved with this game, and I guess a rising tide floats all boats.
Yeah. So the way to look at it is games are now networks, right? So if you think of like Staff's law, that also now applies. So each user adds more value than the previous user to the entire network. So then the idea is that you give away a network token or a governance token that represents, true stake in the network to people playing the game, and then more people play the game.
We're just losing. Is anyone else losing Jiho?
You're able to scale play to earn in that way. There was a spike there. Yeah. So basically, I think. If we look at games as networks, then each new player adds value, and it's not everyone has different skills, right? So it's there's some players like Kookoo who come in immediately and start to make an impact, right? So he's adding so much value to the network, and I think that just happens more and more as the game grows, and yeah.
It's true. It's quite amazing too, as you say. Everyone has different skills, and Kookoo, you've done amazing stuff in creating those educational materials, which is completely external to the game, but so needed. Before I throw it back to you, Sebastien, I was just keen to hear your thoughts on that too. What do you think about that comment? There's no need for competition, but players for every game.
Well, I really disagree. Like specifically, even more with decentralized game and games that involve tokens. Essentially, like the community and all the users who participate in the game are contributing and creating value overall in a way or another, whatever their role. And by holding the token as well, they are contributing. They are becoming stakeholder in the success of the platform. They tend to create more value by onboarding new users, helping out the core development team by writing more tutorial, by helping spreading out the world. And like they are doing an amazing work with the Axie Infinity community, which really is one of the most active I've seen ever. And it's really amazing to see all the content they produce to onboard new players and show the love in general they have for the game. And Sandbox also, it's true, but it's even it's not only players, because in Sandbox, as I was mentioning, there's also this idea of user-generated content. So we have teams we have individuals, artists, game creators. We have now teams on board, and everything they do, they create on the platform. All this content has actually contributed to grow the value. So it's really community driven, and essentially, on the contrary, like the more there's users who produce content on our platform, the better it is overall. It's going to grow the overall value of our ecosystem and metaverse.
I think you're so right, Sebastien. Guys, we've got about 10 minutes left. So if you do have questions for any of our speakers, drop them in the chat. I will absolutely make sure that they hear them. I wanted to ask you, Kookoo, where do you see this going in the Philippines? Because I get the sense that this is actually just the beginning. So we're probably going to look back on this webinar and laugh in a year's time and go like, oh my God, I can't believe when we had that many players and we thought that was amazing. I think this is going to grow from here. But what do you think? Where do you see this going, and what is it going to mean to Filipinos in future?
For me, it's just getting started. What I did was, to delegate those. If there are people asking me questions, sending me messages, I told you that I was now more on focus on creating content instead of playing, because people are asking how to get started, how to get my 3 Axies, how to swap my SLP, how to swap my Ethereum. So I mean, what I did just to give people some of an easy onboarding to the game, so they can get started without knowing all the knowledge or the technicalities of blockchain, simply by sending them some videos. I actually did that for my friends. If they tried to ask me what you're doing, what's your pastime, and then I'll just send them the video. I don't need to explain all over again repeatedly every day, people asking me. So I'll just send them the link, and that's the purpose of it, to educate them and to get them started. And we want to create a community where we interact, because for 4 months I've been here in my house, not talking to anyone aside from my 5 Shih Tzu and my wife. So it's really hard, and communicating or interacting with these guys, mga ka-farmers natin dyan sa Discord. I mean, when you wake up, hey bro, let's swap SLP. SLP is on 3 pesos. Hey, let's go farm. Oh, that whole gecko. So that's, crazy. You get excited.
Well, also though, we were just talking today about how there is quite a learning curve. So for someone who's absolutely brand new to crypto, there are risks, and there's a lot to learn when you're getting started. So you've obviously taken your own time to generate these educational materials so people can take on ideas about privacy and security all themselves. Why do you feel that education is so important for the community to help them understand and learn and get up to speed all on their own?
Yeah, ignorance is expensive. I mean, if you don't know these things, how it works, you'll be taken advantage of. I mean, there will be a lot of people will try to lure you about, oh, we're making a lot of money in this game, but they're doing some schemes, and that's crypto. I mean, in the Philippines, when they hear an opportunity, they will try to always take advantage of you, get something out of you, instead of giving value or providing support. And that's what I want to be on that, in Axie community or in other community. Whenever I go into something, I always want to provide some support and value, not because of the money, but because of the community. So regardless of the money that you can make, money, you can earn money. I mean, but the friendship, the relationship, the network, the daily farming and the daily asaran, right? So from other countries as well, or especially when there's a tournament, all are excited. So I'm excited, and I hope more and more people like me that will contribute. There are people that are better than me, that can create content, edit videos, create blogs, give some tips. What I did is just to start it and probably influence those people that once you enjoy the game, just enjoy the game and then provide some value, instead of
I think I don't think anyone would say that they're better than you, but I think Jiho mentioned earlier that it's you know, we all have different strengths, and that's what creates such a rich community. Gabby, I just wanted to ask you, because I know that you've been in the Philippine community for many years and also helped people onboard to your own game. Like, what have you seen in terms of some of the challenges or risks or issues with people onboarding to this game, and what people should think about when they're taking their first steps to getting involved with this space?
Okay, so there's actually a lot of complex technology. So maraming teknolohiya behind sa blockchain na kailangan din matutunan ng mga tao. Kaya kailangan pag-ingatan nyo rin at aralin nyo kung ano yung pwede mangyari para hindi kayo maloko. Kasi kunwari, pag binigay nyo ang private keys nyo sa ibang tao, parang binigay mo na yung susi dun sa wallet mo. So what I'm saying is that you should really take care and learn this technology. Because, for example, we have this saying in blockchain, it's not your keys, not your coin. If you give your private keys to someone else, or if you access an account that has private keys, it's actually like giving the keys to your wallet to another person. So maraming mga kailangan pag-aralan para maganda kumikita tayo sa paglalaro, kumikita tayo ng SLP. Pero maganda yung mga video ni Kookoo at makikita natin kung paano talaga gamitin itong teknolohiya na to.
I only understood Conti.
I would do a quick comparison. Like, it's not specific to blockchain. Like, when you go to any ATM machine, like, there's always these lines like, do not give your PIN code to anyone who claims to be for helping you, and it's just as basic as that, right?
Right. That's
You're so right, Sebastian. I mean, like, Gabby, you just mentioned it before. It was like, you know, giving someone the private keys to your wallet, but you know, if someone else is managing your private keys, it's like giving your cash wallet to someone else to look after for you, because they can access it anytime they wish. And I think that's a real shift. Anyone who isn't familiar with the crypto space, we're not used to this idea that you have to take full responsibility for your software. You know, anything else you've got, if you lose the password to your email, you know, there's the reset password option, you know, so easy. But with crypto, we don't have that. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people learn that the hard way. So I think it's fantastic that you guys are really pushing that that education piece and getting people up to speed to understand the risks and how to protect their own security. Peter, I think we're at time. So I'll throw back to you for any more questions or closing thoughts. But this has just been the most awesome discussion. I want to thank you all for inviting me and for being here and being part of this community, because we're building something pretty cool here. Yeah,
awesome. Couldn't agree more. And Leah, thank you so much for being an amazing host. And I thought you moderated the conversations perfectly. I thought it was great. Man, I saw there was so many comments in the chat, and like everyone wants to get leaked alpha. Like I can see people want to know like when sidechains are releasing. I saw like a comment about Ronin there. Sebastien, I saw there's some comments about onboarding into Sandbox. So basically, spend some time to have a look at the comments after the show, in case there was anything addressed to you that we didn't actually managed to cover. And I think maybe just to wrap up, you know, we are as BlockchainSpace actually trying to do more education in this space, you know, and I love the segue between gaming and blockchain, you know, to bring more users into the space, you know. And so starting this Saturday, actually together with Kookoo, we're going to be starting a live stream. And we're just going to make it super fun, very, very casual, something kind of similar to this, but we're just going to be commenting on like other people playing. And then so you can learn about gameplay, you can learn about how to get onboarded, and, you know, just have your just kind of like very casual kind of beginners kind of guide into the space. And that's not just for Axie. I mean, like, we're looking at that for, you know, other kind of games as well. So hopefully with Sandbox in the future, like Sebastien mentioned, you know, there's a couple of different ways you can get involved. Like, especially if you're artists or if you're creative, you can start building your own kind of assets, and you know, you can trade these in the future, and that's also something that's going to be interesting for, you know, the creative people out there. So I think it's not so narrow that it's only targeted to hardcore gamers. Although I do see some tier 1 people in the comments as well, and we'd love to be able to have those guys too, because they are big into esports here in the Philippines. But yeah, I think on that note, I just really want to thank all the speakers. It's been amazing. But, it was a conversation that was, I think, really well timed, because I just feel like blockchain gaming is really getting the recognition that it deserves now. And if you guys are Twitter users, you'll see that, like, you just search hashtags for NFTs and DeFi, and you'll see kind of like how much that the space is kind of blowing up right now. And Gabby hasn't even told us half of the things he's working on right now. And I think you need to follow him on Twitter to understand like how deep this rabbit hole goes. So yeah, thank you very much to everyone, and I think we'll end on that note. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Magandang gabi.
Magandang